Hello. So yeah, this is my second stream for today. In case you don't know, I just finished streaming a Valorant comp game on the third gaming channel. But today, before I want to start this reading stream for our American friends who should be in bed by now, and if you're not, this is gonna be like a alpha wave reading ASMR kind of thing. But anyways, before that, I just want to say there are a few updates that I need to let you guys know regarding the writing and the good novel situation, that those of you who have been following me. So first and foremost, one of the previous editors who quit joined a rival web fiction company, and they're soliciting good novel authors, so be very careful with what you do. Like I said, the mistake that I made was not actually understanding the terms of the contract of what is binary and what is non-binary. So like I was saying, the TLDR is that although they are saying that they will pay you, there is no confirmation of when the payment will come in or how much they will be paying you, because it's not actually written in the contract. But anyways, the new editor that I have on Good Novel, so I brought it up to her. She's like the third or fourth editor since the incident happened. Let me just give you guys a review. Oops. Okay, wait, hold on. Where is it? I shifted everything from Streamlabs to OBS, so I'm still a little bit wonky on this. Hold on. ちょっと。どこ? Ta-da! Okay, so I'm gonna like show you guys this for a while now, because I need you to see that they actually did do the transfer. This is what I have right now. And then if you go here, so you can see like 80 is carried over, and then this is whatever earning is this month. So I'm gonna go into last month because you won't be able to see anything in this month. It's not yet updated. It should come over under here, bonus completion, right? So this is the one. And okay, when it was March, I actually asked the editor like, when will I see it come in? So they said at the end of this month, because they didn't actually input it. So this is backdated. Okay, I just want to say that this is backdated. So this part here, can you see completion bonus? And then this is the carry forward. This is the earnings and the profit shares and the and whatever not. Okay, we're gonna ignore all of those first. We're gonna go down over here. So here, there you go. So this is the 25 USD of the 50 that I was supposed to get, right? Because they say all non-exclusive books upon completion of 120,000 words or more will be given a USD 50 bonus. But the previous editor, like 3 editors ago or something like that, they deemed that this work was non-compliant, even though there was no plagiarism. It was completely original, and there were no broken guidelines like too much explicit content or too much violence or whatnot. It's a very fluffy and wholesome thing. All right, so I don't know what gave them, like, what inspired that judgment that this book was non-compliant, but the new editor re-vetted this thing, and then they reopened the case, and they deemed that, hey, actually it's qualified. So they gave me back this, but it's very backdated. So the case that I was communicating with her was in March. It is now coming to the end of April. So yeah, I guess they upheld their end of the bargain. But just be very careful in future when you're signing with Good Novel, especially because inside the contract, I can't tell you what is inside the contract, but I can tell you what is not inside the contract. And not inside the contract is a guaranteed payment clause. They did not guarantee you the amount that they're gonna pay you, so they can, just find any meanings and ways to justify that it doesn't qualify and we're not gonna give the money to you. So yeah, basically that's that. And yeah, so this is the second part of the bonus completion. I think the first part was last year, November or something. Oops, let me just go to November. Hold on. Date invalid? Was it December? I don't think it's December. Wait, it's not December, is it? Yeah, it's November there. So this bonus completion is in November, and it's for Dear Dawn. Ta-da! There you can see. So the case is closed. I would like to say that the case is closed right now, but still, be very careful. There are a lot of e-fictions that, they just they will promise you things and then it doesn't like follow through, and you have to really fight for it. Alright, that's all I'm gonna say. You have to really fight for it. And I don't know why the chat box is so tiny over here, but it's the best that I can do, guys. This is the best I can do. Like, please put up with this, but I will still watch the YouTube version of this chat. So yes, hello chat, hello Ken Bush, it's nice to see you again. Yeah, so it's a very on and off kind of thing. I'm so I'm so lost. I was like, what is going on? But anyways, now you know. Web novel also. Yes, there's news about web novels. So recently, the editor who was in charge of me, I'm like one of the second batch writers on the platform itself. So I wasn't the one who was asking for a contract. They were the one who is giving me and begging me to take a contract back then. Okay, the times have changed, but the second generation of editors have left. So yeah, that was like the first gen. And then after that, the second gen was like with Islinda and those, which was my first gen because the first gen was like the editor-in-chief, Sunny, right? So the chief editor. And then now I don't know if Sunny is still there, but you can no longer contact Sunny by itself. And then after that, Islinda's batch, they were the second gen. Second gen has mostly left. There's only one that's left, but they've transferred to marketing department instead of the editorial department. And then they got this third batch of web novel editors, and I think the third batch is also leaving one by one. So you can see that the turnover rate for editors in the web fiction world is very high, and they've transferred me to a different editor. I'm not sure because I don't have like a contracted work on web novel anymore. Yeah, so I don't feel like I should start web novel when I have so many things on my plate. Time Cross Academy, we're rushing the art because I'm trying to do it before Pride Month, which is in June, and it's already the end of April. I only have one more month to you know, finalize everything and put it together. And yeah, it is. Oh my god, my brain, I'm so stressed right now. But yes, I decided to do a stream today because I had time, and this is my second stream, so please forgive me if I sound a little bit high because I just had lunch, I had coffee, I'm sweating a ton. It's raining out there, it's super humid, but it's still hot. It's crazy. Singapore's weather is crazy right now. Global warming is a thing. Also, why must you fight for your pay? Okay, because I'm gonna say this right here and right now. I'm poor, okay? If I don't get paid through this non-exclusive contract, okay, just kidding. It's not that I need to get the pay, but it's more like the trust, okay? I wanted transparency. I'm like, it's okay if you penalize my book as non-compliant, but I wanted to know like which part you're looking at that is non-compliant, right? Because I am a representative. If you Google search web novel like tips or tutorial or like WSA stuff, I am the number one search, or at least I'm in the first page. I'm not sure if I'm number one anymore, but I am in the first page of web novel representation of a mentor or whatever not, okay? So I need to be accountable for those of you who are following me as writers, correct or not? So I wanted to make sure that I have my facts right before I promote a site to you, which is why I say that the website, blogs, and the e-course is actually undergoing like a revamp, but I don't have time to actually go through all of that right now. And Wix is so fucked up. They just recently sent me an email like last week that they say the bite size of the file storage thing of non-paid cloud versions are being reduced or something. I was like, oh god damn it. And then I can't retrieve all the files that I accidentally deleted because I needed space, and they're now all corrupted links. I'm gonna cry. I might have to redo the whole thing, not gonna lie. I might have to redo the whole thing, and I don't know how to redo everything from 2 or 3 years back, so I don't recall everything. My memory is flawed, right, in that sense. Like some of the tutorials, they're still valid, alright? Like 2020 WSA, it's no longer valid. The WSA now has evolved so much. You cannot write the same things the same way that you've written before during my time when I was still an active web novel writer. So I need to update all of those, but I don't have time because I'm still studying, and I just handed out my assignment yesterday. Yeah, oh, but the good news is the last one I actually got like what, 94%. Oh, that's a high distinction, yo. I've not seen that mark since I was in secondary school. I was like, I've been failing my finance modules and business modules, especially the accounting ones, the whole time through. And then I was like, finally, I had high distinction in psychology. I was like, I knew I was doing something wrong in my life. Now this is what it is. And yes, hello DMI, thank you for subscribing to the channel, and thank you for coming to the Discord server. It's nice to have you there. So yes, you're gonna leave this live on while you're working? Okay, sure. Just be very careful not to get caught, because I will just treat this like a lullaby or reading ASMR for the friends who are in America, because the friends should be sleeping by now in America, but my American friend is still wide awake and texting me on Discord. The nerve of her to do that. But anyways, the people in EU should be, I don't know, is it like lunch? No, it's dinner or something like that. So yeah, it's like evening for them and like late night for Americans. Yes, and the Asian people, you guys just came back from lunch. You guys should be either working or you guys have just ended school. I don't know, but whichever the case, thank you for joining me today for the afternoon reading session in Singapore when the weather is fucked up. But here, let's go. I ran out of bookmarks. I'm just gonna say I ran out of bookmarks. So I'm using something that one of my students gave me from like years and years ago, I think. No, wait, this is not from my student. Hold on. Who is this from? Oh, wait, this is from my mom. This is from my mom who was at the childcare, who was doing this arts and craft corner thing with the other kids, and then she made this for me. Oops. It's morning in the... Oh, okay, my bad. Yes, I see. It's morning in the EU. Hi, good morning, guys. Good night to America, good morning to EU, and good afternoon to Asia. Okay. We got this. I don't get it though. I'm bad at math. This is the reason why I didn't do engineering. My brother who is doing engineering, he's gonna graduate soon, and I was pestering him. I was like, everything is broken in my room. Can you like fix something for me? Like the fan is broken, my wardrobe is broken, my storage are not here. Yeah, and my other fan, I just fixed it. That's why I can use the ceiling fan today. Otherwise, you hear a lot of white noise. It was squeaking. But anyways, this is back to the story. It is Inkheart by Cornelia. Funke. Okay, because it's German, so Funke is like it translates to spark. Yes, time zone is trouble. Oh my god, you have no idea. Time zone is so bad. I wanna cry when I convert time zones for collabs. But yes, that's the reason why I'm looking for Asia only people collabs. But Asia is so versatile that not everybody speaks English. I'm just gonna say this. I'm crying because of that. And I don't know about you guys, but a lot of Asia countries don't have very stable internet connection, including myself. I live in Singapore. My service provider should be Singtel, and Singtel is like the Singapore's national telco or something like that. But the service is so poor. It's so poor that my Valorant game crashed while I was streaming it earlier just now. I'm gonna cry. I was in comps. I was in competition, ranked games. It crashed. I was like, oh god. But yes, anyways. On to chapter 2. Secrets. There are no quotes this time. Why are there no quotes? Wait, I got it wrong. Okay, there's a quote. Yep, so basically, Cornelia Funke always puts a quote on the beginning of the chapters. And this quote is by Isaac Bashevis. It's a singer, so by Naphtali the storyteller and his horse Sus, literally Sus, S-U-S. I don't know what that means, but this is the quote. What do these children do without storybooks? Naphtali asked, and Reb Zebulun replied, they have to make do. Storybooks aren't bread. You can live without them. I couldn't live without them, Naphtali said. So I will concur. I concur. Like 100% agree with this. You can live without bread for like a few days, but not without books. Like if you stop learning, that's the day you die. That's what I believe. Like if I stop loving this world and things in it, like even a little bit, then that's the day you should just kill me and unalive me, because that's the day, you know, I go onto my villain arc and never come back. So if there was a red button for nuclear missiles, I will press that and detonate the world. So you should just kill me before that. But yes, it's the same. DMI says, you're working with America and got your sleep schedule broken. Oh, okay, that kind of sucks. Yeah, sleep schedule. Welcome. You are like me. You're a night owl, my nocturnal friend. I have to, yeah, I'm a tutor, so I understand that. Because I work afternoons and evenings, but then sometimes I wake up mornings because I have yoga class. My god, the biggest regret. Okay, not really the biggest regret. For the first year, it was fine. This is my second year, so I bought yoga membership. And then the classes are usually in the mornings because the evening time slots clash with my evening tuition classes that I used to earn money. So I paid 2 years, right? Because it was like cheaper. They said it was cheaper, but it's so hard to wake up in the morning. I grew sick, and then I came back from Japan. I came back from Japan like mid of January, and I'm still struggling to keep up with life. You know, there's just so much to do from last year, 2 years ago. I'm crying, but yes, I feel you. You're not alone. You're not alone. Right, let's begin. It was early dawn when Maggie woke up. Night was fading over the fields as if the rain had washed darkness out of the hem of its garment. The alarm clock said just before 5, and Maggie was gonna turn over and go back to sleep when she suddenly sensed someone else in the room. Startled, she sat up and saw Mo standing by her open wardrobe. "Hello," he said, putting her favorite sweater in a case. "I'm sorry, I know it's very early, but we have to leave. How about cocoa for breakfast?" Still drowsy with sleep, Maggie nodded. Outside, the birds were twittering loudly, as if they'd been awake for hours. Mo put 2 more pairs of jeans in her case, closed it, and carried it to the door. "Wear something warm," he said. "It's chilly outside." "Where are we going?" asked Maggie. But he had already disappeared. When she looked out of the window, feeling confused, she almost expected to see Dustfinger. But there was only a black bird in the yard, hopping over the stones, which were wet after the rain. Maggie put on her jeans and stumbled into the kitchen. 2 suitcases, a traveling bag, and Mole's toolbox stood out in the hall. Her father was sitting at the kitchen table making sandwiches for the journey. When she came back into the kitchen, he looked up briefly and smiled at her, but Maggie could see he was worried about something. "Mo, we can't go away now," she said. "The school holidays don't start for another week." "Well, it won't be the first time I've had to go on business trip in your term time." He was right about that. In fact, he went away quite often whenever an antique dealer, a book collector, or a library needed a bookbinder, and commissioned Mo to restore a few valuable old books, freeing them of dust and mold, or dressing them in new clothes, as he put it. Maggie didn't think the word bookbinder described Mo's work particularly well, and a few years ago she had made him a notice to hang on his workshop saying, "Mortimer Fulchart, book doctor." And the book doctor never called on his patients without taking his daughter too. They had always done that, and they always would, never mind what Maggie's teacher said. How about chicken pox? Have I used that excuse already? Yes, last time, when we had to go and see the dreary man with the Bibles, Maggie scrutinized her father's face. "Mo, is it because of last night that we have to leave?" For a moment, she thought he was going to tell her everything, whatever there was to tell. But then he shook his head. "No, of course not," he said, putting the sandwiches he had made in a plastic bag. "Your mother has an aunt called Eleanor. We visited her once when you were very small. She has been wanting me to come and put her books in order for a long time. She lives beside a lake in the north of Italy. I always forgot which lake, but it's a lovely place, a day's drive away." He did not look at her as he spoke. Maggie wanted to ask, "But why do we have to go now?" But she didn't. Nor did she ask if he had forgotten that he was meeting someone at midday. She was too afraid of the answers, and she didn't want Mo to lie to her again. "Is this aunt as peculiar as the others?" was all she said. Mo had already taken her to visit various relations. Both he and Maggie's mother had large families whose homes, so far as Maggie could see, were scattered over half of Europe. Mo smiled. "Yes, she is a bit peculiar, but you'll get on with her all right. She has some really wonderful books." "So how long are we going to be away?" "It could be some time." Maggie sipped on her cocoa. It was so hot that she burnt her lips and had to quickly press the cold blade of a knife to her mouth. Mo pushed his chair back. "I have to pack a few more things from the workshop," he said. "It won't be long. You must be very tired, but you can sleep once we're in the van." Maggie just nodded and looked out of the kitchen window. It was a grey morning. Mist drifted over the fields at the foot of the nearby hills, and Maggie felt as if the shadows of the night were still hiding among the trees. "Pack up the food and take plenty to read," Mo called from the hall. As if she didn't always. Years ago, he had made her a box to hold her favorite books on all their journeys, short and long, near and far. "It's a good idea to have your own books with you in a strange place," Mo always said. He himself always took at least a dozen. Mo had painted the box poppy red. Poppies were Maggie's favorite flower. They pressed well between the pages of the book, and you could stamp a star-shaped pattern on with your skin with their star-shaped pattern on your skin with your pepper pot seed capsules. He had decorated the box and painted Maggie's treasure chest in a lovely curly lettering on the lid. The box was lined with shiny black taffeta, but you could hardly see any of the fabric because Maggie had a great many favorite books, and she always added another whenever they traveled anywhere. If you take a book with you on a journey, Mo said when he put the first one in her box, an odd thing happens. The book begins collecting your memories, and forever after, you have only to open that book to be back where you first read it. It will all come back to your mind with the very first words, the sights you saw in that place, what it smelled like, the ice cream you ate while you were reading it. Yes, books are like fly papers. Memories cling to the printed page better than anything else. He was probably right, but there was another reason why Maggie took her books whenever they went away. They were her home when she was somewhere strange. Familiar voices, friends that never quarreled with her, clever, powerful friends, daring and knowledgeable, tried and tested adventurers who had traveled far and wide. Her books cheered her up when she was sad, and kept her from being bored, while Mo cut leather and fabric to the right sizes and restitched old pages that over countless years had grown fragile from the many fingers leafing through them. Some of her books always went away with Maggie. Others were left at home because they weren't right for where she was going, or to make room for new unknown stories that she had yet to read. Maggie stroked their curved spines. Which books should she take this time? Which stories would help drive away the fear that had crept into the house last night? I know, thought Maggie. Why not a story about telling lies? Mo told her lies. He told horrible lies. Even though he knew that each time he told one, she looked hard at his nose. Pinocchio, thought Maggie. No, too sinister and too sad. But she wanted something exciting. A story to drive all other thoughts out of her head, even the darkest. The witches. Yes, she'll take the bald-headed witches who turn children into mice. And the Odyssey. With the Cyclops and the Enchantress who transform his warriors into pigs, her journey could hardly be more dangerous than his, could it? On the left-hand side of the box, there were 2 picture books that Maggie had used when she was teaching herself to read. 5 years old she'd been, and you could still see where her tiny forefinger had moved over the pages. And right at the bottom, hidden under all the others, were the books Maggie had made herself. She had spent days sticking them together and cutting up paper she had painted picture after picture, and Mo had to write what they were underneath them. An angel with a happy face, from Maggie for Mo. She had written her name herself, although back then she always left the E off the end. Maggie looked at the clumsy lettering and put the little book back in the box. Mo had helped her with the binding, of course. He had bound all her homemade books in brightly patterned paper, and he had given her a stamp for the others so that she could print her name and the head of a unicorn on the title page, sometimes in black ink and sometimes in red, depending on how she felt. But Mo had never read aloud to her from the books, not once. He had tossed Maggie up in the air. He had carried her around the house on his shoulders. He had taught her how to make a bookmark of blackbird's feathers. But he had never read aloud to her. Never once, not a single word, however often she put books on his lap. Maggie just had to teach herself how to decipher the black marks and open the treasure chest. She straightened up. There was still a little room in the box. Maybe Mo had a new book she could take. A especially fat, big, and wonderful book. The door to his workshop was closed. Mo? Maggie pressed the handle down. The long table where he worked had been swept clean, with not a stamp nor a knife in sight. Mo had packed everything. Had he been lying after all? Maggie went into the workshop and looked around. The door to the treasury was open. The treasury was really just a lumber room, but Maggie had given the little cubbyhole the name because it was where her father stored his most precious materials, the finest leather, the most beautiful fabrics, marble paper, stamps to print patterns in gold on soft leather. Maggie put her head round the open door and saw Mo covering a book with brown paper. It was not a particularly large book and not especially fat. The green linen binding looked worn. But that was all Maggie could see because Mo quickly hid the book behind his back as soon as he noticed her. "What are you doing here?" he snapped. For a moment, Maggie was speechless with shock. Mo's face was so dark. "I only wanted to ask if you had a new book for me. I've read all the ones in my room and..." Mo passed his hand over his face. "Yes, of course. I'm sure I can find something," he said. But his eyes were still saying, Go away, Maggie." And the brown paper crackled behind his back. "I'll be with you in a moment," he said. "I have a few more things to pack, okay?" A little later, he brought her 3 books, but the one he had been covering with brown paper wasn't one of them. An hour later, they were taking everything out into the yard. Maggie shivered when she stepped outside the doors. It was a chilly morning after the night's rain, and the sun hung in the sky like a pale coin lost by someone high up in the clouds. They had been living in an old farmhouse for just under a year. Maggie liked the view of the surrounding hills, the swallow's nest under the roof, the dried-up well that yawned darkly as if it went straight down to the center of the earth's core. The house itself had always been too big and draughty, like for her liking, with all those empty rooms full of fat spiders. But the rent was low, and Mo had enough space for his books and his workshop. There was a hen house outside, and the barn, which now housed only their old camper van, would have been perfect for a couple of cows or a horse. "Cows have to be milked, Maggie," Mo had said when she suggested keeping a couple. Very, very early in the morning, every day. "Well, what about a horse?" she asked. "Even Pippi Longstocking has a horse, and she doesn't have a stable. She had been happy with a few chickens or a goat, but they too have to be fed every day, and she and Mo went away too often for that. So Maggie only had a ginger cat, who sometimes came visiting when it couldn't be bothered to compete with the dogs on the farm next door. The grumpy old farmer who lived there was their only neighbor. Sometimes his dogs howled so pitifully that Maggie put her hands over her ears. It was 20 minutes by bike to the nearest village where she went to school, and where 2 of her friends lived. But Mo usually took her in a van because it was a lonely ride along a narrow road that went past nothing but fields and dark trees. "What on earth have you packed in there? Bricks?" asked Mo as he carried Maggie's book box out of the house. "You're the one who says books have to be heavy because the whole world's inside them," Maggie said, making him laugh for the first time that morning. The camper van, standing in the abandoned barn like a solid, multicolored animal, was more familiar to Maggie than any of the houses where she and Mo had lived. She never slept more deeply and soundly than in the bed he had made in it for her. There was a table too, of course, a kitchen tucked into a corner, and a bench to sit on. When you lifted the seat of the bench, there were travel guides, road maps, and well-worn paperbacks under it. Yes, Maggie was fond of the van, but this morning she hesitated to get in. When Mo finally went back to the house to lock the door, she suddenly felt that they would never come back. This journey was going to be different from any other, that they would drive further and further away, in flight from something that had no name, or at least none that Mo was about to tell her. Very well, "Off we go south," was all he said as he got behind the steering wheel. And so they set off, without saying goodbye to anyone, on a morning that still seemed much too early and smelled of rain. But Dustfinger was waiting for them at the gate. Alright, so that's chapter 2. Hopefully you guys are sleepy enough to go to sleep because my voice cannot make it. Yes, I will be editing after this privately off stream and playing Soda Dungeon as an idle game in the background. But yes, that's all for today. Thank you for joining. I will read chapter 3 the next time. So there is no fixed schedule for the readings. Venus still hasn't come back to me about the collaborations yet, but I'm looking forward to that, bringing it soon. So yeah, if you do have any questions related to writing a good novel situation or web novel in itself, feel free to find me on Discord or leave it in the comments. Thank you for watching and have a great afternoon, morning, or night. Bye bye.